Hi everyone, I'm Ashley and this is Chris, and we are a marriage surviving sexual addiction and infidelity. And it has been a long time since we made a video last. We had summer and newborn, and now that he's 6 months old, he still isn't sleeping through the night. So it's been a long time, and it's been fun, and we apologize. But a lot of the times too, what helps keep these video going is, I can talk about this topic a lot, but it's easier for me to talk about it if I know somebody has questions or concerns, because again, the whole reason why we set out to do this is just we're a couple who's willing to talk about something that very understandably doesn't want to be talked about very often, and because of our situation, we're pretty open with it, and in that being open, we hope it helps in some way, whether it cuts some shame for some people, whether it's, it's hard to talk about it so you don't always know. We just want to be really transparent, and we recently just got a question that we felt like we both could each do a video that might be helpful. The question that I was asked was, how can I not be mad at my husband, and how can I not hate him? And so it made me sit there and contemplate that, and it made me contemplate a segment that Chris could do is, how can I not resent my wife? Because he resented me before all this came out, and I'll let him talk about it. But he would say, like, he resented, our intimacy life because it wasn't quite what he thought it would be or expected, because it wasn't what he had trained his mind.
Yeah, I mean, pornography, it gives you a totally false conception.
Yeah.
That it's not work, and that it should just be whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want it. It teaches you to be very, very selfish, and that's what I expected.
He's going to talk a little bit about dealing with resentment before, and then after, where the resentment that we've talked about. And again, he's going to do a video on this. I just want to kind of explain so you can tune into his if you have these questions as well. The resentment where it has come in afterwards is a little bit of that struggle of, oh, we're talking about this again. Oh, she's upset again. That kind of a thing. So he's going to talk about that. And I'm right now just going to talk real quickly about, how do I not get mad at my husband? How do I not hate him? Honestly, I do still get mad at him. I mean, this has been a really long time in, and there are still triggers and trauma that pop up that we will be having a perfect time, and then all of a sudden I feel anger towards him, and that anger will just creep up, and it will hunker me down, and it's hard, it's sad, it's not what I want to experience, especially since I feel like a lot of healing and forgiveness has taken place between us, but it comes up and it happens. But one of the biggest things that have helped me there is I do pray often to see my husband as God sees him. That's one of the first things that I do, and it's been very helpful. But it's not bulletproof, and it doesn't mean that just because I pray for that, I always see him as this great, wonderful thing that didn't do a lot of harsh things to me, because he did. So that pain does still come up, and the anger still comes up. And the best thing that I can say, and this is going to kind of tie into what he has to say, is that communication is key at this point. And we talk about communication all the time. But I go and I talk to him like, hey, I just got triggered. This just brought this to my mind. And now I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling angry. Like, I start to go through all the emotions and how it came about and how I got triggered and why I'm upset and why I feel mad at him. And I can tell you that the times that he sits with me in it and he listens to what I have to say and communicates back, and like, we sit there and process it together, and it's in a very kind and loving way, those anger and hate feelings, they disintegrate quickly. they go away fast. And I feel like we're able now, especially, I mean, it takes time to get there, I feel like, but now especially, it could be like 1 minute I'm really mad at him. We sat and talked about it and communicated in a great, loving, kind way. And it can go away within a couple of minutes. If I go and I speak to him and it's what I receive is his anger, that resentment kicking in of again, or if it's not responded to well, that anger sticks a lot longer. It stays with me a lot longer, and we don't really see eye to eye. And when that has happened, and it has happened, a lot of the times we go to counseling to get back on the same page. Sometimes we did a lot of counseling at the beginning. Now we rarely go to counseling, but if we have to be recentered because we're not seeing eye to eye, we go to a counselor who's just a great third-party person to help get us back on track and set up boundaries and bottom lines for both of us to work on so that we can get back on the same page of trying to hear one another's needs and putting each other's needs into perspective. I want to say ahead of our own, but sometimes it's not even about that, about putting him above me or me above him. It's about, what does he need? What do I need? And we get on that same page through counseling. So those are the best things that I could say is, number one, I pray a lot, and I pray to see him the way God sees him. And that does give me a lot of strength. Number two is I communicate with him. And if he responds well and communicates with me and all that, then, we can normally do it. But then number three is sometimes we have to go to counseling to get some things. And when I say that, it makes me a little nervous, because if there's any guys out there that are watching this, or women, because, it could be one or the other, whoever had that addiction or whoever betrayed or whatever, it doesn't want to be like, oh, I had to take him to counseling to have the counselor be like, oh, see it her way. No, it was like, I needed to know what he was needing. And a lot of the times in counseling, it helps me understand a ton, like, okay, let him really express what he's feeling when you say it to him that way. Because sometimes it's the words I'm saying or the way I'm saying it about my triggers or about my trauma that can feel really shaming to him or something like that. That I have to understand that my feelings are my feelings, but maybe I'm not delivering them in a way that can be extremely helpful, if that makes sense. So in no way, shape, or form am I saying go to counseling so the counselor can get on the person who's been cheated on side and make him recognize that he's all in the wrong and I just need another person to back me up. No, we go to counseling because we both need help. We're both in a rut. We're both stuck. And so those are the three things. I'm sure there's plenty more. That's just what has worked for us.
Yeah. As Ashley was saying that, it definitely is not that. Counseling is not to prove or show who's right or wrong. And yet the feeling I'm having during all this, and that I'll kind of address in my video, is that the addict is probably wrong. But that's not why we're there. And that's not what you get out of it. It's learning. Counseling has been so beneficial to me in helping me learn, in helping me develop compassion, and really be more understanding of how my actions and reactions affect Ashley, and how I can help her, at the same time helping me to learn and grow, and not creating extended fights when they don't need to be there.
Yeah. And it's helped me in, anyone who knows me knows I'm an open book and I am a communicator. I like a lot. But maybe sometimes I say things that don't necessarily need to be said, or I over communicate. I beat my point in so much so to the point where it can be, what's that word? Like degrading or something, like
degrading.
Not degrading. Okay.
Just
something.
I know what she means.
He knows it, and I'm like telling him over and over and over again. Anyways, counseling has given me tools, it's given him tools. And so sometimes that's kind of that final, okay, we need to get back on the same page. If we can't find a way to communicate together, then we need to get on the same page. But my best advice out there to anyone who's working on this, because I've seen it firsthand through my husband and how wonderful he has been about any time I'm triggered, he tries really hard to have that compassion and sit with me on it. And every single time I feel heard and I feel understood. And it gives me so much hope in our marriage every time I'm feeling that, pain and that anger boil up again. So my greatest encouragement would be just to try and find, even though I know it's hard, I'm sure he's sick of talking about this. Nobody wants to go over the worst thing that they've ever done again and again and again and again. They don't want to do that. You don't want to relive that. You want to forget it. You want to move on. And I get that. But unfortunately, his choices led to lots of different things and pains that I experience. And if I can't process them with my husband, with my best friend, then I'm not processing them. And they're being swept under the rug. And then they're making me crazy. And they're making me more resentful, more angry, and develop all these other feelings that are just, they're not going to help me or him. So I'm very thankful for the times that he'll sit with me on it and he'll be compassionate and he'll hear. And I try to be very understanding of what pain this might be bringing up for him as well. So hopefully, that's a little something to go off of when that anger boils up. So thank you.